Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. We are talking about Survivor 20 Heroes versus Villains, episode 2.
It's Getting the Best of Me is the title of this.
Yes, and it is raining at the beginning of this episode a
Ugh.
lot.
It is awful conditions. The villains do not have good shelter. They are falling apart. They are miserable.
Apart. And Rob is fed up. He's like, he's already kind of like exasperated with this tribe we've saw in episode 1. And now he's like, nobody wants to try to make fire. Nobody wants to fix the shelter. Do I got to do everything around here? You know, like he is sick of these people.
Yes. And it's interesting because he obviously, this is not his first time playing. He has come back and he's like, look, don't be a dictator. Don't be the one in charge. Like he's like trying to approach it differently and it's killing him. It is like no one else is willing to do anything. Everyone wants to like have a say though, and not just trust that he knows how to do it. It's just like so frustrating from top to bottom. And
they're all bickering about like how should they build the shelter, and don't we want it to like go this way, or do we want it to go like it's just, and Rob is like, I can't deal with these people, and then people are like, well, can't I have an opinion? You know, it's just like a mess. They just don't know how to communicate at all yet.
Right.
And we go over to the heroes tribe, and again, like the way they edit this together, it just seems like the heroes are working well together, you know, chopping down trees, getting whatever they need.
And their shelter is legit beautiful. It's got like sides.
Hello.
It's like, it's lovely. And so,
it's like
they seem
over.
just fine.
Yeah.
Except for Rupert and Stephanie. We get
They're
a little hints about that.
At odds, yes, which is, you know, kind of just setting up, planting some seeds for this episode. Stephanie and Rupert are going to
both kind of annoyed with each other. They've got their eye on each other. They're both sort of targeting each other.
Yes, right.
Okay, back to villains. So Rob's not well. He is not only frustrated with these people, but like he does not feel well. Yes, these conditions aren't great, but he's also exerting way too much energy.
He's doing a lot.
Who has been not sleeping and out in the rain this whole time.
I know, yeah. And so he eventually is like, I got to take a walk. Like I kind of got to walk away from this. Let me just walk this off. He's walking around in the jungle, starts to look a little lightheaded, and Jerry sees him, boom, down on the ground in the jungle. She runs over and she's like slapping his face like, Rob, say something. Like, are you okay? What do you need?
Open your eyes, Rob. Open your eyes. And he can't. He's out. He is literally out.
He can say like, get help. And so she like runs off to, So she runs off to, you know, get Jeff or the medic or whatever it is, tell a producer. And then we see Jeff marching through the jungle, you know, with the doctors, and they kind of get to work looking after Rob. And ultimately they revive him. You know, of course they give him the fluids. They're checking his blood pressure, I'm sure. And they're ultimately saying like, it seems like you have the flu. It's not something we need to be like super worried about. And they get him back to a state where he's like able to speak, able to open his eyes, you know, able to sit up, and like he's recovering.
I find this whole scene very interesting. First off, the fact that Jerry has to leave him to go get help. I thought, isn't there someone in the woods with you holding that camera?
There's got to be a PA.
Do they not have walkie-talkies?
Yeah,
and say like medic?
I know.
Don't they have like something? Anyway, that was interesting to me that she had to run off and leave him there. But also, like now, okay, we're on season 40. We've seen a lot of Jeff and Rob, and they are like in love with each other. They are best friends. People joke about how like Rob will get different treatment than everybody else. But this scene, like, kind of cements it, right? So Jeff has to be there. A medic is there, like it's part of the show. But like the end of this, it's just the two of them hanging out.
Yes.
They're just like chatting, and Rob's like, dang, man, this is just like really getting at me. And Jeff's like, you got it, man. Get back. It's like, what, bros? Hello.
Like giving a pep talk to his to like his brother. It's crazy. And Rob, you know, kind of has like this new lease on the game. Like he's his whole perspective is shifted,
now.
you know, he's like, I love this game so much. Like, I respect this game too much to quit, and I can't go out this way, and I got to keep playing. And Jeff is like, you're right, man. Like, you got to get back in it. And Rob like tries to kind of get up and is stumbling, and Jeff is like there to catch him, you know, like they're just like the best of friends in this moment.
It's so funny. It's so interesting though to like talk about this when we literally were just talking about Rob cracking his elbow and having to finish the Edge of Extinction challenge.
Yes.
And like this is just so Rob. Like he collapses. He's not well. He's physically ill. I mean, the flu is not fun. Like people are usually in bed for like a week with the flu.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh man, he's like, I love this game. I gotta push through. I gotta do it. And it's just like, this is so Rob.
I just feel like if I passed out in a jungle and a doctor told me I had the flu, I might be like, F this. Like, this game is destroying me and like threatening my health.
Yes, because you're thinking, oh, so tonight I'm going to still probably try to sleep in the rain?
Yeah, that's what he's going to go back and do. That's what he's going to go back and do, Sarah. But apparently it doesn't affect him because let's get into this immunity challenge. Now, they're playing for immunity and a tarp reward, which the villains desperately need.
Okay, at this point, game-wise, I don't care who wins, but for this tarp, please, villains win. They need a tarp.
Yes.
Give them a tarp.
Right. Now they have to play this challenge in pairs. So we see Randy and Courtney have to sit out for the villains, and Rupert has to sit out because he's got that broken ass toe for the heroes.
Yes.
And the challenge is they have to roll these heavy crates from one end of the field to the other and then use those crates to build a staircase that spells out the name of their tribe, right?
Yes. These crates are a gazillion pounds.
Sarah?
They're the heaviest things I've ever seen. Two people like running and pushing and like trying. And you just see like, first we see Rob, because of course he has to be first. And I'm just like, the man is so ill. Why is he out there pushing this? But he has to. And people are like struggling. Heroes get a lovely lead.
A very healthy lead. Yeah. I think they're like maybe a full crate in front,
right ahead,
you know, and they managed to blow that lead again. I will say that. I was just going to bring up that, like, as we're rolling these crates, like to your point of like how heavy these things are, Parvati gets smashed in the face by one of them as they're like shoving it down the path, and I'm like, this could give you a concussion. Like, this is not like made of like Nerf gun material, you know, like this is like a heavy ass wooden crate. I can't even imagine how much a single crate weighs, you know?
Right. I thought she was about to just like be out. Like that was it. Right. So many people got smacked around, like they're falling off. Like it just overall is so dangerous. But the heroes get to the puzzle part of this, a full crate before villains. Villains are still rolling their last one there. They're putting together this puzzle, but just like episode 1, they are all chiming in. They are not working as a cohesive unit. As soon as villains get to their puzzle part, you only hear Rob's voice. Rob is directing exactly what to do, and no one has a problem with that. Right. They are all listening and just hustling.
Yeah. And you know what else Rob is doing? He is lifting crates with his back single-handedly. I'm like, I thought this man had passed out in the jungle yesterday and had the flu, and now he's lifting a whole crate by himself with his back. What is going on?
Again, I get the flu. I'm in bed for a week. Rob gets the flu. He's carrying this weight, pushing it up himself. And he's like yelling. He's like, pull it, guys, pull it. Like, please.
And I was so stressed watching this because I was like, what if this falls? Like, what if Rob collapses? Is this going to smash him and kill? Like, could one of these, they're all like lifting it with their, hands and stuff at various points. And then it kind of falls. And I'm like, what if it hits somebody in the head and breaks their neck? Like, it just seems overly dangerous. Again, like we just don't see these kinds of challenges on like modern Survivor, like
really
this is definitely 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm. It feels completely different, to be honest.
Yeah.
So dangerous. But so anyway, heroes just they make a mistake at one point. They are scrambling, and the villains just like seamless. I mean,
easily.
Not seamless.
Yeah, the heroes like give up at the end again because the villains are just so obviously going to win.
They're done.
It's just over. And then James is yelling at Stephanie. I think Rupert was yelling at Stephanie. And Stephanie's kind of like, I know already that Rupert's after me, so I can't really say anything in response. I just kind of have to like sit there and take this, which is like an uncomfortable position to see someone be in.
I know.
But it's just like not a cute look for the heroes, this immunity challenge.
It's not. We do go back to their camp first. And most people are sort of saying, yes, we should have listened to JT. We have got to do better at like whoever it is that we've designated we're listening to. We've got to really shape up and do this. However, one person is not just talking like that.
No, James comes into camp with the flamethrower and starts chewing everybody out about how they didn't listen to the one person that we put in charge.
What was I said?
One voice. There were too many voices, and I have never lost like this in my life. This is so embarrassing. Like his ego is out of control, and he is blaming everybody else for making him lose all of these challenges.
Yes, he obviously does not lose well. He is not happy with it, and he is not able to just sort of calmly talk about it. He rants and rants for quite a bit until he storms out of their beautiful shelter that they have.
Yeah. And Tom is a little bit like eye roll at James. We do see little glimmers of people being like, dude, chill. Like, okay, none of us are happy to have lost. Like, you really don't need to like scold us all like we're children.
Yeah, Tom was like, oh yeah, you've never lost before? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, buddy. Sure.
Right.
Yeah. We pop over to the villains tribe just for a smidge for Rob to like bring a clam up to camp, and Russ will be like, all right, who does this guy think he is? I'm gonna catch a chicken.
Yeah, right. Russell's
intimidated by Rob. He's got to catch a chicken, but he does. So, okay. Villains have a tarp now and a chicken. Good for them.
Great for them. Yes. Now
back over to heroes.
At heroes, the conversations that are happening sort of signal that it's either going to be Stephanie or Amanda. Nobody's talking about James.
Not one lick are we going to talk about James. But I do believe it is because they want to win a challenge, and
I mean,
he's obviously physically fit, so we're going to keep James around.
You saw him in that challenge. Like, he was basically like lifting crates with one hand, he really is like such an asset, especially given how physical a lot of these challenges have been so far this season. So like, it kind of makes sense that he's not part of the conversation. But Stephanie and Amanda are what people are talking about, and JT is kind of in a position where he's like, I'm gonna have to pick a side, he kind of feels in the middle, and he is gonna have to show his cards essentially. Like, who's
first
he playing
week,
with?
Easy. Everyone's on board with a sugar vote. Great. Don't really have to show any cards yet. But this one, it's like, am I choosing this side or am I choosing this side? So he does have to sort of pick a route. We see Stephanie, Tom, and Colby sort of realizing they're on the outs. They've really got to do the work to save Stephanie. They realize it's her. And they come up with a plan. If they can get Suri and Candace to come to them to vote out Amanda, then they could have their group.
Right. So we see Stephanie's kind of working on Suri and Tom is kind of working on Candace individually. And then we see Suri and Candace come together to discuss because they are actually working together, or they want to, it seems.
Candace is kind of laying it out like, I don't have anyone. You guys have all worked with other people. Like, I don't. And Suri sounds like she's offering herself up. She's saying, like, I'm not really with Amanda. Like, I'm fine either way.
Right. She's like, as long as it's not us, like, I'm good. Like, if we need to get Amanda out, like, okay, we get Amanda out,
But it was interesting that Suri didn't really say, the fact that she says whichever is a clue to me that you might be more open to working with this person that we're saying you're working with. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's one thing to be like, look, Amanda cut me. Let's cut her right now. Let's go.
No, yeah.
But when you're like,
is like appropriately non-committal, you know, like it kind of signals like, yeah, sure, whichever way we want to go. And I might go back and tell Amanda that you're plotting against her, you know?
And the next thing I might say might be like, you know, but like we could use Amanda, you know?
Right.
It's going to be something like that. Yeah. But this takes us into Tribal.
Well, James is singing the same tune when we get to Tribal. He is coming hard for Stephanie. He will not let up, to the point where Colby and Tom kind of have to step in, and they're like, dude, like back off a little bit. Like this, you're being way too, you know, aggressive with Stephanie.
It's one thing to be loud and aggressive and direct, but when you start talking in circles and not making sense, you lose me. So when you literally call out Stephanie's name and she has a rebuttal, and then you say it's not about you, then I'm like, no, you lost me.
That it was
You're the one you're literally talking about her. So you can't say it's not about you. Like, he's just talking in circles and can't stop talking. And it just gets annoying. And of course, Colby's like, come on, dude. And you know, Tom's like, come on, dude. Like,
give
it a rest. Like,
they're both just like, shut up. Like, we get it. We're, you know, and I think they're all probably thinking like, we're kind of on the same page, but you're making it difficult to be on the same page with you because you're being such a pain in the ass. Like, just be quiet, please.
Why do I want to work with you? Like,
right.
It wasn't a good look for James at this point.
Yeah, I know. And meanwhile, we have Cirie, who's kind of trying to distance herself from Amanda because there's more talk about previous relationship, who, you know, who knows whom, who's worked with whom, who was on the same season, this and that. And Cirie's reminding everybody that, you know, Amanda caught her at Final 3, so they're not that close, you know. You don't need to be thinking about me and Amanda together, everybody, because she is not my BFF. She cost me $1 million.
And she did. Let us not forget, she did. And so I hope that you do have that in your back pocket. But it's bigger than just her and Amanda, because they also played with James. Like, it's kind of just like a wider connection. And so yes. Obviously, that is that's just going to hold out, and which we see with the votes. Like that, you can say whatever you want to say publicly, but in reality, they're going to vote together in this beginning, early part of the game.
Right. So when the votes shake out, we see Amanda and Stephanie each vote for each other. And in the end of the day, it is 3 votes for Amanda and 6 votes for Stephanie. So I would think that the only 3 votes for Amanda were probably Tom, Colby, and Stephanie.
Yeah, it appears that way. It appears that everybody else, no matter what they were saying, we're all going to work together and vote out Stephanie.
Yes.
And Stephanie said something like maybe talk nicer or stop yelling so much. Yeah. And then James said, shut your mouth.
Keep your mouth shut is what he said.
Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Beautiful last words. Gorgeous.
Disgusting. Just disgusting.
Soup's classy. Really.
It's just so disrespectful and unnecessary. And like, you
gross.
just voted her out of the game. Like,
yeah, she's leaving.
Stop like swinging your dick around, you know, like, sorry for the language, but like gross. Like,
it's a game. We know that we have to work together and then work to vote people out. Like, you don't have to be gross about it, you know?
Yep. Right.
So that was an unfortunate ending. But
Stephanie's gone. And in the preview, James continues to be out of control. Like, I don't know how much longer we're going to be having James on this season, because
he's not good at losing, and doesn't look like he's winning everything.
Yeah. Right. There may come a time where it's like, hey, guess what? We know you're on our tribe, but you're not helping us win anything actually. So maybe we don't need to keep you.
Maybe. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Episode 2, we love just as much as episode 1, right?
Good stuff.
Good season.
Yeah. It's just fun I'm, looking forward to just seeing more from these characters, some of whom we're seeing in Survivor 40 and some of whom I'm, seeing for the first time. And just, I am itching a little bit for a hero's win so that we get to see these villains at a tribal council. I want to see what the dynamics are there, So we'll see where it goes from here.
Yes, there's some good dynamics.
I love that you've seen it, and so you like know what's coming, and I have no idea. I mean, I know how it ends ultimately.
You know, big arcs. You know,
big arcs. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, wonderful. Yes, we will be back next week, next Thursday for episode 3. So please join us there, but also let us know your thoughts on this season, this episode.
Please. Okay. And we will see you guys soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.